Let's build 17 new shortcuts for messages, reminders, and more. To automate text when you're leaving or coming back home, send a map image with your ETA to a significant other. Make reminders out of text messages, and we'll do some automations to help you study, have your phone read an entire summary of your day like weather and events, Apple Cache actions, podcasts, and more. So I've had a lot of comments about automating your messages, like when you're coming home or leaving home. So we're gonna go to the Shortcuts app and then over to the Automations tab. From here, let's hit the plus button to create a new automation. And for this first one, we're going to do an automatic text when we're leaving home. So I'll choose Leave Location. If you're home right now, you can just choose your current location, or you can search for a location or type in a full address. Then you can specify, do you want this automation to run any time of day or during specific hours, maybe just when you're leaving in the morning? I'll choose anytime, and this is important. You want to choose run immediately. This way you don't have to do anything to actually make the text go. And in case you were wondering, I did test this automation and several others, and these text messages were sent via shortcuts with no action from me. So let's go to next. And so this is going to run anytime we leave the address, maybe it's your home or work, and let's do a new blank automation. One of the actions automatically suggested is the send message action, but we can search for message as well. Let's go to messages, send message. Now you can type whatever text you would like, maybe something like, hey, I'm headed out. Choose the contact who you'd like this to send to, and then expand this menu because there's one other toggle you want to make sure is off. Toggle off, show when run. It should be off by default, but this way, this will run no matter what, and you don't have to tap anything. Hit done, and now that automation is set, so whenever you leave home or whatever address, you'll send that text to the person you specified. Number 2, let's create another automation for when we're almost home. So for this one, we're going to choose arriving at a location, and when you tap location, again, if you're home, choose your current location, or we can put in a specific address here. Now, when you do current location or search for an address, you'll notice this map pop up at the bottom. Here you can decide how far away from home you want to be when this automation will be triggered. I can zoom out on the map and then tap and hold on the little blue circle here, and you can change the radius. So when you cross that blue line into the circle, that's when this automation will be triggered. So you can choose a few miles away or really far away, depending on what you're sending. Again, for your use case, put in your home address or use your current location if you're there now. Let's choose anytime and run immediately. So this is going to run when I'm a couple miles away from home. Again, we'll do a new blank automation. And instead of starting with the send message, let's actually use a get travel time, and we're going to customize the text that's going to be sent to our significant other. I'm going to choose get travel time, and here we can get driving time from current location. So it's going to get the location of your phone whenever this automation runs, and then tap the to section and then put in your home address here. So that's going to get the driving time to your home. And now we're going to add a text block. You see, it's already suggested there, but I'm going to search for text. And now in this text block, this is what's going to be sent in the next action to one of our contacts. We can do something custom like, hey, I'm headed home. Now we can pull from our get travel time action, and we'll say and I'll choose the travel time variable here. That's going to tell us how many minutes we are away from the address. So you could say, I'm that many minutes away. And maybe I want to add something else like, please open the gate. That's the text message we're going to send our significant other. Now we can choose the send message action. This is going to be the content of that text message. Let's choose a contact. I'm going to send it to myself so we can actually see it in action. And because this is an automation, it's going to run automatically, but let's play it manually here and let's see what it does. Now it should have just sent a text message to myself. Let's see if it worked. And there it is. It says, hey, I'm headed home. I'm 27 minutes away. Please open the gate. And this message is going to send automatically anytime I cross that blue location circle I set at the beginning of the automation. Now, many of you asked if you can automatically text someone at a specific time. You can do that too. We'll hit the plus button, choose time of day. Let's set this to 8:08 a.m. We want to do this every day. And again, run immediately and untoggle notify when run, so it just goes without us doing anything. We can choose send message. And here you can type the message and choose your contact. But what if you want to send a similar message, but something different every day? Well, we can actually build that into the automation. I'm going to search for the text block here in the actions. Now here, you can put as many messages that you would like, and we're going to program this to randomly choose one of those messages every time this is sent. So I just added 4 lines of text hitting return each time. You can actually add as many as you would like. Now we're going to add a couple actions here. The first one is going to be split text. So that's going to actually split the text we have in the first block by new lines. Then we're going to search for get item from list. I'm going to add this action after the split command. And then where it says first item, I'm going to tap that and choose random item from that list. Every time this automation runs at 8:08 a.m., it's going to choose a random message from my text block, and then I can choose to send that to someone. I'm going to tap the message part. I'm going to select item from list, and let's choose myself again as the recipient. So this way, every time this runs, I'm going to get a different message. Let's play this a couple times, and we'll go look at the text messages and see what I received. And you can see every time this runs, it's choosing a random line from that first text block. Again, you can add dozens or even hundreds of messages that will be randomly sent automatically at that time of day. Disclaimer, I am not responsible for your significant other discovering that you have automated a good morning text or good night text. Next, I had someone ask if they could send an image of a map of their current location with their travel time home to a significant other. I can actually put a link to this shortcut down in the description. Automations can't be shared, so I can only do it with these kinds. But this shortcut will actually get an image from your current location, get the driving time, and overlay that on a map. I'll build this real quick, and remember, you can always jump to other shortcuts using the chapters at the bottom of the video or in the description. So you can, of course, get your current location, which is likely what you would want to do, so just tap that. I'm going to use a different address for this shortcut, and then we're going to search for a second action, which is get image. So I'm going to get image from that location. And that's actually going to give us a little square image of the map wherever our location is. Next, we're going to add the get travel time. So we're going to get the driving time from our current location to, and here you want to change that from image to either your current location, or you likely want to put in your home address here. I'm changing this up a little bit. Your current location should be here up at the top, and then get driving direction should be to your home, but just doing this for the sake of the shortcut. Now we're going to add a text action here, and we can customize this by saying be home in, and then I'll choose the travel time variable. So that'll say be home in however many minutes. And then we're going to search for an action called overlay. Here we can actually overlay text on an image. So we're going to overlay, choose that variable. We're going to overlay the text from this block here, and then choose the next variable. And we're going to do on the image that we created up here. You can actually customize the font size, alignment, and a few other things, but this is going to give us an image of our current location, the map, and put our ETA minutes away from home in text on top of that image. Now we can search for the send message action, and the reason we have to do this is the send message action can't combine text and images. It will only send an image or only text, which is unfortunate. Maybe that'll be updated. Let's send this to myself again. I'm going to expand the message action and uncheck the show and run. I just wanted to do it automatically. And now when I run this shortcut, I'll go to my text messages, and you'll see that it actually created an image of the map of that first location and put my ETA as an overlay on top of that image. It says be home in 0 seconds because I was using my current location already home, but this will actually have your ETA in it. Again, I'll put this shortcut with the proper settings for you down in the video description. Now let's say someone sent you a text message that you need to do something with. You need to create a task. Well, there's no easy way to share a text message. You can reply, you can copy the text, but then you actually have to go manually paste it somewhere. But let's create a shortcut where we can actually get our clipboard after we copy the message, and then we can add that inside the reminder and then add that to our reminders. For this shortcut, we're simply going to do the get clipboard action, and then we're going to search for the reminders action. We're going to add a new reminder here. And there's a lot of actions for reminders. We're going to do a couple of those in a second. But where it says add, I'm going to tap that area and actually choose ask each time. That means it's going to ask us for the title of the reminder before it actually creates it with the text from the clipboard. Choose the list you would like to add this reminder to, and then you can customize whether you want an alert. I'm going to say an alert at time, and you can specify a specific time, or maybe you want to change this to when I arrive, and then put your home address. This way, once you create this reminder, it'll trigger once you arrive home. You can choose the radius, priority, and the main part of the shortcut is here in the notes section. That's where we want to choose the clipboard. So the contents of the clipboard will be in the notes section of this new reminder, and then we can be reminded of what it's about. This will be a useful shortcut to use as a back tap on your iPhone or something like the action button menu. So if I'm in my text messages, someone sent me a message where I have to do something with it, I'm going to tap and hold on it and do copy. And here I would either do the action button or a back tap, but I'm just going to run my shortcut. It'll create that new reminder asking me what the title is. You can title it whatever you'd like. I'll just call it a work task. I'll hit done. It'll only ask this once, hit always allow. And now it should have created a new reminder. I'll go to my videos list, and here it is. The title work task, the alarm will go off once I arrive home. I just put in Amalie Arena, and then the content of that text message will actually be in the notes section of this reminder, so you'll be able to refer back to it. Speaking of reminders, you can actually choose to find reminders either by a certain date or time, and then we can program those to read it back to us. And we're going to use this in a shortcut in a few moments, like in our morning routine, so it can tell us what to-dos we have for that day. For this action, let's search for reminders, and we're going to use the Find Reminders action. We're going to find all reminders, but also add some filters. Maybe you want to just choose a specific list. I'm actually going to choose the list where I put that work task in, but you can also do by due date. That would be really helpful to do due date as today. This way you can see all the tasks you have due today. We're not going to sort or limit. It's just going to get the tasks that are due today. And then we're going to add one more action. We're going to search for speak text, add that. And this is now going to read us any reminders that are in a list or any that you have due today if that's how you set it. Let's play this.
Work task.
And that was the one task that we had put in the reminders of that list. So one other reminder shortcut, and this is really helpful if you want to remember to do something when you arrive at work or maybe when you arrive home. You can create a shortcut for both. The first action here is dictate text. So it's actually going to allow us to speak this reminder, and then it's going to add that reminder. You can choose a specific reminders list. I chose yes, add an alert. And if you expand this menu, you can choose even more options. And I set this to when I arrive at Amalie Arena. And just for reference, this is the add new reminders action that I'm customizing right here. So when I run this shortcut, it's going to let me dictate a reminder and then automatically add that to a reminders list. And the alert will happen when I arrive either home or at work. And you can set that location there. Let me hit play, talk to Steve about the meeting. You only have to do this once, tap always allow. And now it's going to create that reminder. Let's go to our reminders. You'll see it added it here, and the alert is automatically going to trigger when I arrive at work or whatever location you set. Again, just a quick way to create a reminder with a specific alert for a location so you don't have to do that manually every time. All right, one other reminder shortcut. I'm going to create a new one here, and I'm going to tap the I at the bottom of the phone, and this is going to be something I want to show in the share sheet. That's because we're going to receive images with this shortcut. I'm going to clear everything except images, hit done. This way we can share an image like from the Photos app or maybe even on the web. Then let's search for our reminders action again. We're going to do add new reminder. I want it to ask each time for the title of the task. We're going to add it to our same list called video. We can choose to add an alert or not, but here where it says images, I can actually choose to attach the image that I'm sharing with the share sheet to this specific task. So I'm going to choose the shortcut input as the image, and that's it. We'll call this image to reminder and then hit done. Now when we're looking at an image on our phone, like maybe the thumbnail for the latest episode of my tech podcast, Primary Technology, you should definitely follow the show. Links are down in the description. I'll hit the share button down here, scroll down, and you'll see the shortcut we created here, image to reminder. I'll select that. It's going to ask us what we want to title it. Maybe this is a reminder to share the podcast. I'm going to hit done, always allow, and now it's going to create a reminder with that image already attached. Let's go to our reminders. You'll see the title of the reminder that we had there. And if we go to the info, we can see the image attached right here, and you can tap it and preview it. Helpful if maybe you're taking pictures at a job site and you need to add those to a reminder. This shortcut will let you quickly attach those. All right, next up, let's create a quick morning routine. Some of you asked about creating something like this. I'm going to put this shortcut down in the video description. It's a little long to build it here, but basically what I'm doing is I'm getting events from my calendar, getting the weather for today, driving time to work, and then creating a text block with all those variables that's then going to speak that out to me and then start playing a podcast for the day, which you might do something like Apple News Today, but I would suggest Primary Technology. Now you can choose what calendars you want to get events from and how many events you want to get. You might want to put that number really high if you have a bunch of events in the day. You can make this shortcut automatically run when you snooze your alarm or turn off your alarm. I actually show you how to do that in my last shortcut video. I'll link it above or down in the description. But let's play this and see what it does.
Good morning, Stephen. Here's what your day looks like. Today's weather, the high will be 79 degrees Fahrenheit and the low is 57 degrees with a 0 chance of rain. Your events for today, private hip hop class, boys hip hop class. And it will take you 27 minutes to drive to work. Now here's the news.
The show about the tech news that matters, early reviews of the humane. And that's how you can create a morning summary. You can also add that reminders task where it'll get your reminders for today. Put that in the text block here, and then it will remind you what you have to do. If you want to see how to customize this morning routine or maybe add more actions to it, leave comments below this video and we can build it out even further in a future video. All right, the next one is actually going to be an automation, and we're going to turn on guided access on our device when we open a specific app. So in the automations tab, let's choose app as the trigger, and let's choose books, maybe because, and here we're going to choose when we open the books app. You can also choose maybe a school app or an app you use to study. Is opened. We want to run this immediately. No notification when run. Hit next. we'll start with a blank automation and then search for the guided access action. Guided access is a mode where you can choose things to lock, like you can't go home or you can't change the volume. And if you really need help focusing, it might keep you in that app. You can also add something like enable a focus mode. This way all notifications will be turned off, and we'll choose set focus here. And maybe we want to turn do not disturb on until a certain time or an event ends. Maybe you want this until you leave the library or your current location. So when I open the Books app, it's going to start guided access, which limits my ability to use my device, and turn on a focus mode. Now let's open the Books app and see what happens. You see the automation ran, guided access started, and I automatically entered a focus mode. I actually can't get to my control center to change that focus mode. I can't even swipe home from here. I just have to be in the Books app. Now if I triple click the side button, you can see here guided access is enabled. If I tap that, it's going to ask for a password. Now, if this is your first time setting up guided access, you set this password, which is different than your device password. Make sure you remember that password, or if you want some extreme accountability, have someone else that you trust set the guided access password so only they can get you out of guided access. Be very careful with that because this is a different passcode than your device, and if you forget the guided access passcode, it's going to be difficult to get around it. You can see here there's lots of options for guided access, like whether or not you want to be allowed to bring up the keyboard, if you can even touch the screen. Maybe there's a time limit where the phone will deactivate after a certain amount of time, whether or not you can adjust the volume buttons, put it to sleep, and of course you can end guided access here, and now I can do things like go back to my control center, change my focus mode, and more. So be very careful with guided access, but if you really need help focusing, you can enable it automatically when you open an app to study. Speaking of which, you could just do a focus mode, so let's do another automation. When I open an app, maybe when I go on my lunch break, I want to watch some YouTube, and whenever I watch YouTube, I don't want to get any notifications from work. So when I open the YouTube app, and you can make a second automation that when you exit the YouTube app, you'll exit that focus mode. We're going to run immediately, don't notify when run. We'll hit done, and now we'll choose the set focus action. We'll turn do not disturb on until turned off. Again, you can create that second automation to automatically do it. And now whenever I open the YouTube app, I'm automatically going to go into do not disturb mode. You just saw it change there up at the top and here in the control center. And you can make this happen for multiple apps and create that second automation for when you close YouTube. Switching gears, I didn't realize you can actually create shortcuts to send Apple Cash. If we create a new shortcut here and search for cash, here you can either request a payment or send a payment. We'll choose send payment. You can choose how much money here automatically. Maybe you send someone $15 regularly for something. And you can even choose the recipient here. And if you expand this menu, you can even choose a different app like Venmo or Cash App to send this money. I'll keep it on Apple Pay. And now whenever you run this shortcut, it'll ask you to confirm the amount and you'll see the phone number of the person. You'll be able to hit pay and then send the money. This can also be useful if you create a menu of multiple people that you send to fairly often and multiple amounts. And then you can automate requesting or sending cash. All right, in the home stretch, the last few, I just want to mention the play podcast action. Matthew Cassinelli, who's an incredible shortcuts creator, you should subscribe to his newsletter. I'll put a link in the video description. He told me that if you just wanted to resume whatever podcast you are currently listening to, you can actually use the play podcast action. I thought you had to choose a specific podcast by tapping that here, but you actually can just leave this as a single action, leaving that blank, and it will resume whatever podcast you were already listening to. So if I run this shortcut, you'll see it will... pin are out, so we're going to touch on those. Apple released a new resource. You'll see it'll automatically resume the podcast I was listening to previously. I don't know why I didn't know this, but if you just want to resume the podcast you were listening to, this might be a helpful action. You can create an automation for when you connect to your car, either the CarPlay or via Bluetooth device, and it can just resume playing that podcast. Really helpful action for that. The more you know. Next, there was a request for an automation where I've shown this before, but I have an automation where whenever I open TikTok or Instagram, if audio is playing, meaning I'm listening to a podcast or music, it doesn't do anything. But if no audio is playing, like my phone is silent, it will then set my media volume to 0. This way, videos don't play loudly when I don't expect it. Someone asked, can you change this to be if you have headphones connected? And there actually is an action for that. If you download the Actions application, which gives you a lot more shortcuts actions that are built in, I'll put a link to this app in the video description as well. One of the actions available there is the Get Audio Playback Destination. If you added this, let's say in another if statement, I'll actually put this at the end so we can see what it says. It will actually return whatever device is currently set. So if I play this action, you'll see that iPhone is selected because I have no headphones connected and I'm not playing to a HomePod or anything else. I'm going to put my AirPods in. You see now my AirPods are connected. If I run that action again, you'll now see it returns the device I'm using to listen, namely my AirPods Pro. So using this action, you can add another if statement to say, if audio playback destination is AirPods Pro 2, then set the media volume to a different percentage. Otherwise, if that's not connected, set it back to 0. So that's a really helpful action along with the is audio playing action that I used before. Again, these are both available with the third-party app actions. I'll put a link in the description. All right, second to last thing, a lot of people asked, can you have automations or shortcuts do different things during certain times of day? So this gets a little complicated. Again, Matthew Cassinelli helped me out with this. But in order to do that, you have to format the current date, which is an action, and there's a whole world of like terminology and letters you have to do for this. And then there's probably a cleaner way to do this, like with a dictionary, but with a bunch of if statements. Basically, I have here Monday through Friday expressed as numbers. So 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have these if statements where if it's Monday, if it's Tuesday, if it's Wednesday, then you can add other if actions like if the hour is, and then using 24-hour time, you can say before or after. There's probably a better, easier way to do this. This is the way I could do it where it actually works using all these if statements. I'm just going to put a link to this shortcut in the video description. So if you want to create an automation that only runs on weekdays before 5 p.m., this is what you need to do. And then you can use this in a run shortcut action in like another automation. So I'll just put that in the video description. And if viewers out there have a better solution, I'd love to hear about it, which brings us to my last action. In my last request video, someone asked, can you have an automation that just tells you the highest temperature of the day and when it's going to happen? Well, Blake reached out and actually built this automation to do exactly that. And when you run this shortcut,
the highest temperature in Thanodasasa will be at 9 a.m. and it will be 62 degrees.
He built a pretty complicated shortcut here to try and achieve just that. So I'll put a link to this shortcut in the video description as well. You could try it out and see if it works for you as well. And if someone else had a different idea for this shortcut, let me know down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed these 17 shortcuts for messages, reminders, and more. If you have requests, leave them in the comments below. I love doing these request videos for shortcuts. Weekend seems like a good time to publish them, so we'll be doing them regularly in the future. Also, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Hit that like button. And if this is your first time ever seeing a shortcuts video, I'll put one of my past videos right up here, which is like my Shortcuts 101 video. It really builds on the basics of shortcuts. And then there's an entire playlist where you can watch all the shortcuts videos and my past request videos, and I'll put that right up here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.